So, imagine you're getting ready for this huge mountain climb, right?
Okay.
You go to the outdoor store. You buy the absolute heaviest, most professional boots they sell.
Oh, of course. You need the best gear.
Exactly. And you pack this massive expedition backpack. It's got, 3 different tents in it.
3 tents for one person.
Yeah, just in case. You even buy, oxygen tanks. And you stand in your living room feeling completely, perfectly prepared.
Right. You're ready to conquer the world.
But then you step outside your front door, and the backpack is just so incredibly heavy that you're totally exhausted. I mean, you are sweating and miserable before you even reach the end of your own street.
Yeah. You prepared for a Mount Everest expedition, but you really just needed to walk down to the local grocery store.
Yes.
And the thing is, we do this constantly. We operate under this unspoken assumption that doing something important, like, improving ourselves, it has to be painful and heavy to actually count.
That is the exact trap we fall into when we try to master a new language.
Oh, totally.
So today, we're exploring the ultimate blueprint for mastering a new language, or really any massive long-term goal, without completely burning out.
And we have a really fascinating stack of sources for this deep dive today.
We really do.
We're looking at transcripts from English learning guides that dissect realistic study routines, the hidden psychology of goal setting, how to survive high-pressure workplace communication, and this surprising way that the vocabulary of physical fitness actually explains cognitive endurance.
Yeah, the fitness connection is so interesting to me.
It's great. And the common thread running through all these sources is survival.
Survival.
Yeah, but not, physical survival. It's the survival of your motivation in a really busy, chaotic adult life.
Right, which is so hard to maintain. So our mission today is highly specific. We want to help you, the active English learner listening right now, to just stop feeling crushed by these huge, impossible study plans.
Because they really are crushing.
They are. We're going to figure out how to fit English into the margins of your real life, how to protect your mental energy, and how to handle real-world situations with authority.
Okay. Let's unpack this, starting with the very first mistake that almost every learner makes on day one.
Right, which is the illusion of the perfect plan.
Yes.
In our source material, there are 2 people discussing their past failures with English study habits, and one of them describes finding this old, dusty vocabulary notebook in their desk.
Oh, no, I know where this is going.
Yeah, the very first page was written with just absolute confidence. It said, Monday, learn 50 new words.
Which is mathematically absurd for anyone with a full-time job.
That is a recipe for instant failure.
Yeah.
But, the notebook continues. Page 2 says, Tuesday, review 50 words and learn 50 more.
Oh, my gosh.
And then they turn to page 3 for Wednesday, and the page is completely blank.
The famous blank Wednesday.
Page 4 was probably also blank because they had a difficult week. Out of the 100 words they tried to force into their brain in basically 48 hours, they probably only remembered about 6.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
Yeah.
And the other person in the source transcript, they had a system that was even more elaborate.
No, do tell.
They created this study schedule utilizing 7 different colored pens.
7 colors.
7 colors. It had dedicated categories, time blocks, arrows connecting different subjects, and these little boxes to tick for every half hour of study.
It sounds like a piece of modern art.
It really does.
But, building a 7-color schedule is actually just a form of procrastination, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You feel so productive drawing the little boxes and using the highlighters, but you aren't actually learning anything.
Let me guess. This masterpiece lasted, less than a week?
It lasted exactly 4 days.
4 days. Wow.
By Thursday morning, the whole schedule was abandoned. And the fundamental flaw with these massive, colorful routines is that we are always planning for our best day. Oh, the mythical best day.
Right.
The day you wake up at 5 a.m. before your alarm even goes off. You have infinite energy, the sun is shining, your coffee tastes perfect, and absolutely 0 unexpected problems happen.
Which is, maybe 2 days a year.
If that.
But we build this rigid routine for that idealized version of ourselves.
Yeah.
What we fail to design is a backup plan for our tired day.
A tired day.
Yeah. And the tired day is the reality for most adults.
Right.
It's the day you sleep through your alarm, you spill coffee on your shirt, your boss is angry, and by the time you get home, you have exactly 5 minutes of mental energy left.
Yeah, you're just totally drained.
Exactly. So if your rigid 7-color plan demands 45 minutes of intense grammar study and you only have 10 minutes of energy, Your brain simply says, well, I can't do the whole thing, so I'll just do nothing.
Right.
I'll start again on Monday.
And Monday just becomes this graveyard where all our failed plans go to be resurrected and then die again.
Beautifully said, yeah.
So, if the massive schedule is a trap, the sources offer a really brilliant alternative concept called pocket time.
Yes, pocket time. Think of your available time during the day as currency.
Okay.
You have some large banknotes, like maybe a full uninterrupted hour on a Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
But you also walk around with all these little coins in your pocket. 5 minutes waiting for the morning bus, 10 minutes sitting on the train during your commute, 7 minutes washing the dishes after dinner.
And normally, we just throw those little coins straight into the trash.
We really do.
We stand at the bus stop, we pull out our phones, and we just mindlessly scroll through social media to numb our brains.
Right. But those small coins of time, when collected and spent deliberately, they compound into massive results. The sources suggest completely abandoning the grand study routine and making a tiny plan.
A tiny plan.
Yeah. Think of it like putting a single clear destination into a GPS.
Okay.
Instead of driving around a city in circles with no direction, just hoping you find a good place to study. You give yourself one tiny coordinate.
Like, I'm going to listen to one short 5-minute English audio clip while I make my breakfast.
Exactly.
That is the single coordinate.
Or I will review exactly 3 new vocabulary words while I stand in line at the grocery store.
Okay, but I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
We are talking about mastering a complex language here. Is 5 minutes of pocket time actually going to move the needle?
That's a fair question.
Because, I mean, trying to learn English in 5-minute increments, it feels like trying to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool using a tiny teacup.
Right.
Won't the learner just be stuck at a B1 level for the next 20 years?
What's fascinating here is the actual mechanism of how language acquisition works in the adult brain.
Okay.
You are not trying to memorize a thick academic grammar textbook in 5 minutes.
Right. That would be impossible.
Doing that with teacup would indeed take 20 years. What you're doing in those 5 minutes is creating repeated exposure. You're naturally absorbing the language.
Absorbing it rather than forcing it.
Exactly.
Like a sponge sitting in a small puddle of water. It just naturally draws the liquid in.
That's a great way to look at it. Because the brain does not acquire language well under high stress.
Definitely not.
When you sit down at a desk for a grueling 2-hour study session, staring at a blank wall, making it this highly pressurized event, your brain resists.
It's fighting you the whole time.
Right. But when you listen to a podcast about a topic you already enjoyed during your commute, you are in a relaxed state. You hear the same natural expressions repeated in different contexts, in different tones of voice. You are weaving the language into the environment you already live in.
So it stops feeling like a punishment.
Exactly.
You don't need a 15-minute pre-study ritual where you adjust your chair, organize your pens, and just mentally prepare for suffering.
No suffering required.
You're just living your normal daily life, and English just happens to be playing in the background.
You are accumulating the repetitions without all that psychological weight.
Okay, so step 1 is abandoning the heavy backpack and building this tiny, highly specific plan for your pocket time.
Right.
But step 2 is where it gets psychologically complicated.
It really does.
It's about deciding who you're actually going to tell about this new plan. We have to transition from building the habit to intensely protecting the mindset that sustains the habit.
And the sources outline a very strict rule for this phase.
Oh.
Never share your plans before you execute them.
Never. Now, on the surface, that sounds almost paranoid.
A little bit, yeah.
It sounds like you're hiding in the shadows, refusing to let anyone in on your life. But the underlying neuroscience here is really fascinating.
It is.
I always compare announcing your goals to eating a massive, rich chocolate dessert right before a healthy dinner.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. The dessert tastes incredible in that specific moment, but it completely ruins your hunger.
Yeah.
When the actual nutritious food arrives, you have zero appetite left to eat it.
And that maps perfectly onto what researchers call the fake reward.
The fake reward.
Yeah. The human brain has this dopamine system designed to reward us for achieving things.
Okay.
Dopamine is the chemical that makes you feel proud, satisfied, successful.
But all love dopamine.
We do.
Yeah.
But when you set a major goal, like writing a novel or becoming fluent in a language, and you immediately announce it to your entire social circle, people react.
Right. They get excited for you.
They say, oh, wow, that's incredibly ambitious. You are so disciplined.
And you instantly feel like a successful, disciplined author.
Exactly.
But you haven't actually written a single word on a page yet.
That's the problem. Your brain cannot distinguish between the dopamine hit of social praise and the dopamine hit of actually completing the difficult task.
Wow.
The announcement literally replaces the achievement in your neurological circuitry.
That is wild.
The source material highlights this really painful story about someone who decided to write a book. They told their entire extended family. They made a series of public social media posts. They even spent weeks designing this beautiful aesthetic mood board full of inspiring images and quotes.
Oh boy. So they were doing everything related to writing a book except actually writing the book.
Exactly. They spent 4 entire months curating the mood board and soaking up the praise from friends.
And how much did they actually write?
In the end, they wrote exactly 3 paragraphs.
3 paragraphs? That burns.
The project just quietly died because the brain had already consumed the reward. There was no hunger left to push through the incredibly difficult, lonely hours of typing on a blank screen.
So the sources show another story that takes this from, like, internal dopamine crashes to external sabotage.
Yeah, the Sunday lunch story.
The Sunday lunch story.
It's a classic scenario. A person in the source transcript decided they wanted to quit their stable corporate job and become an independent freelancer.
Brave move.
Highly motivated. But they hadn't actually secured a single paying client yet. They went to a big Sunday lunch with their family and proudly announced this massive life change.
And the family, predictably, just panicked.
Total panic. Within minutes, the family started launching unsolicited opinions across the table.
And unsolicited means nobody asked for the advice, but it's forced on you anyway.
Right. They started asking, well, what are you going to do about health insurance?
Always the health insurance.
Always. Or they say, the economy is terrible right now. Did you read that statistic that most freelancers go bankrupt in their first year?
And the tragic part is the family isn't trying to destroy this person's dream.
No, not at all.
They love them. They're just projecting their own anxieties and fears onto the situation.
Exactly. And to explain this dynamic, the sources use a really powerful analogy.
I love this
A
one.
new, fragile goal is like a very small campfire.
Just a tiny flicker of a flame on the ground surrounded by darkness.
Right. When it's just you sitting alone with that tiny fire, you can cup your hands around it, you can protect it from the wind, you can slowly feed it small, dry twigs.
Yeah.
But the moment you invite 20 people to stand around your tiny flame, they inadvertently ruin it.
They just crush it.
They throw massive wet logs of doubt onto it, thinking they're helping.
Whoa.
Or they talk too much and accidentally blow the flame sideways. They just consume all the oxygen in the space.
It is such a stunning visual. I mean, you're demanding that your family believe in a fire that isn't producing any heat yet.
Right.
If you just stay quiet, protect the flame, and wait until it is a roaring, massive bonfire, nobody will tell you the fire isn't working.
Because they can literally feel the heat on their faces.
Exactly. Results speak a language that doubt just cannot argue with.
So if the aspiring freelancer had waited 6 months until they had 3 steady clients and a reliable income, the Sunday lunch conversation would have been completely different.
Oh, for sure.
The family wouldn't have thrown wet logs because the fire was already established.
Okay, wait. I need to challenge this entire philosophy.
Right, let's hear it.
Isn't keeping your goals a complete secret just a very convenient way to give yourself permission to quit?
Like, if I tell absolutely no one that I'm trying to learn English and I just give up after 3 days, nobody can ever ask me why I failed. Accountability disappears completely.
You are hitting on a really crucial distinction that the sources make.
Okay.
There is a massive psychological difference between seeking validation and engineering true accountability.
Break down the mechanism there. Aren't they both just asking someone to watch you?
Not exactly. Validation is broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
Yeah, it's taking a photo of your running shoes on day 1 of a new fitness plan and posting it on social media for hundreds of strangers to like.
Right.
Those strangers do not actually care if you go running tomorrow.
You really don't.
They will forget your post in 10 seconds. You are performing for cheap dopamine.
Okay.
Accountability is surgical. It is choosing one specific trusted friend, preferably someone who also runs, and privately telling them your plan.
Ah, I see.
You give them permission to text you on Tuesday morning and ask, hey, did you do the 5 miles you promised? I totally see the difference. Validation is basically asking for applause. Accountability is asking for a coach.
Exactly.
It's not about hiding in a dark room terrified of failure. It's about being highly selective to protect the fragile energy of your goal. You don't invite the entire neighborhood to your tiny campfire. You invite the one person who knows how to bring dry wood.
Beautifully put. Silence should never be an excuse for inaction.
Right.
Working quietly means you are fiercely protecting your focus. Being quiet while doing nothing just means you're hiding.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Once you have established this quiet, consistent routine and you're faithfully utilizing your pocket time, how do you actually execute this language under pressure?
That's the real test.
It is. We have to take this quiet internal confidence and apply it to one of the most unpredictable, stressful environments imaginable, the modern workplace.
The workplace is the ultimate stress test for language stamina.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're sitting at your desk, communicating in a second language, your brain is working twice as hard.
Right.
And the sources share this highly relatable scenario about a chaotic morning in a corporate office.
The dreaded final file scenario.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
It really is. The team is desperately looking for an important presentation, but the shared digital folder is just a mess.
Yeah.
There are 4 different files. One is named presentation_final. Another is final_approved. And a third is final_approved_new_actual.
It is a total communication collapse.
Complete collapse.
And to escalate the anxiety, the team suddenly realizes that the deadline for this presentation isn't 4:00 p.m. as they originally thought.
No.
The client moved it to 2:00 p.m.
So for an active English learner sitting in that meeting, this is pure panic.
Heart rate is spiking.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the natural instinct in a moment of chaos is either to freeze completely or to try and sound incredibly agreeable just to make the tension go away.
Right.
But the lesson here really redefines what true leadership communication looks like. It's not about standing at the front of the room and barking orders.
No, leadership in communication is entirely about clarity.
Clarity.
When the deadline abruptly shifted, the most effective person in the room didn't just guess what the client wanted and rush to finish the entire slide deck.
Which is what most people would do.
Exactly. Instead, they stopped, they analyzed the ambiguous message from the client, and realized they only needed to submit the first 2 sections by 2:00 p.m., not the entire 100-page document.
Wow. They probably saved the entire team hours of unnecessary panic.
They did.
Yeah.
And the sources provide some fantastic, really practical frameworks for this.
Okay, let's hear them.
Specifically, how to clarify ambiguous deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
If a manager walks by your desk and says, "Hey, I need this report by Friday," the amateur move is to just nod and secretly panic.
Right, because Friday could mean anything.
Exactly. The professional move is to ask, when you say Friday, do you mean first thing Friday morning or by the close of business?
That one clarifying question prevents a massive weekend crisis.
It really does. And the sources also address the psychology of reporting progress. When a supervisor asks, how is the project going? Our emotional instinct, especially when operating in a second language, is to appease them.
We want to please the boss.
We desperately want to be helpful, so we say, "I'm almost done."
Even if we realistically need, 3 more hours of deep work.
Right. But saying, "I'm almost done" when you are actually drowning in work ruins the operational planning for the entire team.
That makes sense.
If you are overwhelmed, you must abandon the desire to sound fast and instead prioritize accuracy.
So what should we say instead?
The sources suggest using clear descriptive phrases like, "I'm swamped right now."
Swamped. That's a great word.
It is. Being swamped literally means being stuck in a swamp, unable to move quickly because you have too much heavy work holding you down.
It instantly paints an accurate picture of your capacity.
It really does.
But let me put myself in the shoes of the listener and push back here for a second. If my boss asks me a direct question in a meeting and I say, "Let me check on that," or if I make a calculation error and bluntly say, "That was my mistake, I will fix it," doesn't that make me look wildly incompetent? I mean, when you're already insecure about your English, you feel this immense pressure to prove you're a genius who just knows everything instantly.
This raises an important question,
Right.
We have to completely redefine what competence looks like to a manager.
Okay, how so?
Guessing a critical deadline or secretly trying to cover up a mistake because you're afraid of looking foolish is exponentially more dangerous to a company than someone simply asking for clarity.
Because if you guess wrong to save face in the moment, the entire project crashes 2 weeks later.
Exactly.
And it costs the company thousands of dollars.
Right. Confident professionals do not view asking questions as a weakness. They view it as a tool to prevent massive future errors.
Wow.
And if they do make a mistake, they don't waste 10 minutes of a meeting delivering a long defensive monologue full of excuses about why it wasn't really their fault.
Oh, that is the worst when people do that.
It is. Instead, they take the tension out of the room immediately.
Yeah.
They say, that was my mistake. Thank you for catching it. I have updated the file. And the meeting just moves on.
It's incredibly clean. My mistake, I'll fix it. No drama, no emotional bleeding.
And effective workplace communication also involves knowing how to distribute weight.
Distribute weight? What do you mean?
You don't just say, I can't do this. You delegate.
Ah.
Delegation is the act of assigning a specific task to someone else who actually has capacity.
Right.
You might say to a colleague, can you take the lead on drafting this section? Or would you be able to handle the initial data entry?
You are taking a massive, terrifying project and breaking it down into small, clear sentences.
Exactly.
It's exactly like the concept of pocket time, but applied to corporate stress.
Yes. And pacing yourself intellectually at work requires a very specific type of mental endurance.
It really does.
Which actually leads us to the final dimension of our sources. Yeah. It takes these concepts of pacing, endurance, and consistency and applies them to the physical body.
Yes, the physical fitness section of the source material. I think this is brilliant because the vocabulary of the gym perfectly mirrors the cognitive journey of learning a language.
It really is a perfect parallel.
Let's examine some of these terms.
Okay.
The sources define a workout as a dedicated session of physical exertion. They talk about reps, which is short for repetitions performing the exact same muscular movement over and over.
Right.
And they focus heavily on stamina, which is the physiological ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort.
They also examine that classic cultural idiom, no pain, no gain.
Right. The philosophy that if you don't experience physical difficulty, the muscle will not adapt and grow stronger.
But the sources are very careful to draw a line between healthy, productive pain and just completely destroying your body.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah. They contrast the physical state of being exhausted with the state of being energized.
Okay, break that down.
Exhausted means your battery is at absolute zero. You cannot function. This is our mountain climber from the beginning, collapsing on the street with a heavy backpack.
Right.
Energized means you challenged your body, but you walk out of the gym feeling more alert and alive than when you walked in.
And to achieve that energized state, the sources emphasize the mechanical necessity of the warm-up and the cool-down.
Exactly.
A warm-up is the deliberate light movement you do before heavy exertion to physically increase blood flow and prepare the joints, preventing, catastrophic injury.
Right. You do not walk into a gym cold and immediately try to sprint at maximum speed.
Never. You set a realistic target. You commit to walking 10,000 steps a day consistently, rather than attempting to run a full marathon on day one and ending up in the hospital.
Yeah, it'll be bad.
The ultimate mantra they provide for fitness is beautiful in its simplicity. It's just, every day I make a little progress.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, building physical muscle and building language fluency are essentially the same biological process. Yeah. When you lift weights, you are creating microscopic tears in your muscle fibers.
Right.
When you rest, the body repairs those tears, making the muscle thicker and stronger.
And cognitive fatigue works the exact same way.
It does.
When you spend 10 minutes intensely translating a complex English email, your brain feels physically tired.
Yeah.
You are literally forcing your brain to forge new neural pathways. That takes massive amounts of cellular energy.
And you cannot build a massive bicep in one 3-hour gym session.
Right.
The muscle can only adapt to a certain amount of stimulus per day.
Makes sense?
The brain is identical.
Uh-huh.
You cannot master English grammar by staring at a book for 6 hours on a Sunday.
Your brain just turns to mush.
Exactly. The brain stops processing the information after the first hour. You have to put in the reps over time.
So listening to this audio right now, figuring out the context of a new word, that is a rep.
That's a rep.
Writing one clear sentence in a work chat without over-explaining yourself, that is a rep.
The mechanism for success, whether you are managing a chaotic project at work, lifting weights, or acquiring a language, is consistency over intensity.
Let's bring all of this together and summarize the core architecture of today's deep dive.
Okay, let's do it.
First, burn the impossible 7-color schedules.
Yes, burn them.
They are illusions. Plan for your tired day and use your 5-minute pocket time to naturally absorb the language without the stress of a heavy routine.
Second, fiercely protect your campfire.
Protect it!
Refuse the fake dopamine reward of announcing your goals to everyone. Seek out one person for strict accountability and just ignore the cheap validation of the crowd.
Third, in the workplace, clarity is the ultimate form of confidence. Stop saying you are almost done when you are swamped.
Be honest.
Ask the clarifying questions, own your mistakes without the drama, and use delegation to manage the chaos.
Finally, respect the biology of stamina. Treat your cognitive energy like physical muscle.
Yes.
Do your daily reps, warm up your brain, and aim for slow, energized progress rather than exhausting, impossible leaps.
To our active learner listening to this right now, recognize what is happening at this exact moment. You are already doing the work. You are actively putting in the reps just by engaging with this material.
Exactly.
You do not need a perfect, aesthetically pleasing routine that looks good on social media. You only need a tiny, realistic routine that actually survives until Thursday.
Because the most effective plan is simply the one you don't quit.
So what does this all mean? We started today talking about the trap of packing a massive, heavy backpack with oxygen tanks, making our goals so heavy that we paralyze ourselves before we even begin.
Right.
We obsess over the final result, becoming perfectly fluent, and we forget the reality of the daily steps required to get there. But consider this. What if the actual value of learning English isn't just the ability to speak the language?
That is a really profound shift in perspective.
What if the most impressive thing you're doing isn't memorizing vocabulary, but the fact that you are slowly learning how to keep a promise to yourself? When you tell yourself you will study for 5 minutes in your pocket time and you actually do it, you are building self-trust.
Yeah.
And the person you become by quietly keeping those tiny promises every single day is infinitely more powerful than any language you could ever speak. We'll see you next time on the Listen Fluently.